Hi everybody. This video is from the Natural Japanese at a Glance series. It gives an overview of the 3 Japanese verb groups. All the material is from part 1 of the ebook Natural Japanese at a Glance, Illustrated Verb Practice by Harumi Morrissey. This video assumes that you can read
hiragana,
In most languages, verbs conjugate, which means they change their form like eat, ate, and eaten. When you learn a foreign language, you have to learn how the verbs conjugate. Otherwise, you make mistakes like, I eaten a fish. Japanese verbs conjugate differently according to which groups they belong to. There are only 3 groups, Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. In Japanese, Group 1 verbs are called
五段動詞、
Group 2 verbs are called
一段動詞、
and Group 3 verbs are called.
不規則動詞、
Now, the Japanese terms use the numbers 5 and 1. What are those numbers referring to? Well, they're actually referring to the number of vowels used to make their conjugations. Group 1 is called
五段動詞、
because Group 1 verbs conjugate using all 5 vowels. A, E, I, O, U, which in Japanese is reordered and sounds like this.
あ、い、う、え、お、
Group 2 is called
一段動詞、
because Group 2 verbs conjugate using only one vowel, either
い、
or.
え、
Group 3 is called
不規則動詞、
because the 2 verbs in Group 3 conjugate irregularly. You're probably a bit confused by all this vowel stuff, so we made a table to illustrate all these points. Let's look at some specific examples. The red box contains the conjugations of
話す、
which is a typical Group 1 verb. Note that the conjugations use all 5 vowel sounds.
さ、し、す、せ、そ、
So the 5 in the Japanese name
五段動詞、
indicates that each Group 1 verb uses all 5 vowel sounds in its conjugations. Now, let's look at 2 typical Group 2 verbs,
見る、
to see and
食べる、
to eat. The red boxes contain their conjunctions. The conjunctions of each verb use only one vowel sound, either
い、
or.
え、
So the 1 in the Japanese name
一段動詞、
indicates that the conjugations of each Group 2 verb uses only one vowel sound, either
い、
or.
え、
And finally, there's only 2 Group 3 verbs and they conjugate irregularly, which is why they're called.
不規則動詞、
So the 3 verb groups are different because their verbs conjugate differently. You can usually tell which group a verb belongs to just by looking at its dictionary form, which is the form or conjugation you look up in dictionaries. Note that the explanations in this video use the dictionary form. In conversations, however, the dictionary form, if it's not part of a polite pattern, is informal and can sound impolite. People learning Japanese should usually use the politer must form. For this reason, most language schools teach the must form first. The following table is useful for explaining the 3 verb groups. All Japanese verbs end in one of the hiragana characters from the orange row, so all Japanese verbs end in U. Group 1 verbs can end in any of these characters. Let's look at some examples.
箸を使う、文字を書く、毎日泳ぐ、お母さんと話す、バスを待つ、 落ちたら死ぬ。友達と遊ぶ。本を読む。わかる。
Unlike Group 1 verbs, Group 2 verbs always end in either
いる、
or
得る。ニュースを見る。医者の言葉を信じる。野菜を食べる。ゴミを捨てる。
Did you notice that all Group 2 verbs end in
いる、
or
得る。
and some Group 1 verbs can also end in
いる、
or?
得る。
So how do you know whether a verb that ends in
いる、
or
得る。
is Group 1 or Group 2? For example, how do you know which groups the following verbs belong to? They have different meanings, but their dictionary forms are the same.
いる、
To need and
いる。
to exist. If a verb ends in
いる、
or,
得る。
you can decide whether it belongs to Group 1 or 2 if you 1. Know the dictionary form and the must form, and 2. Know how each group conjugates the must form. For example, the dictionary form of the following verbs are the same, but their must forms are conjugated differently, which shows the group they belong to.
いる、いります。いる、います。帰る、帰ります。帰る、帰えます。
Also, most dictionaries tell you which group a verb belongs to. Group 3 contains only 2 irregular verbs,
する、
and
来る。
however, these verbs are often used in combinations like
結婚する。
to marry and
持ってくる。
to bring.
運動をする。バスが来る。
Okay, congratulations. Now you should have a good understanding of the 3 verb groups. The next step is knowing how to conjugate the different verbs. For example, how to make the must form for every Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3 verb. There's only 12 key verb forms you need to know, so it's easy to check whether you know how to make them. Just check the following list. So these are the 12 Japanese verb forms you need to know how to make and use. Note that only the first 8 verb forms are conjugations. 9 to 12 are actually derived Group 2 verbs that conjugate like other Group 2 verbs. If you know how to make 1 to 12, try the free practice videos in the Natural Japanese at a Glance YouTube channel, or see Part 3 of the ebook. If you don't know how to make some or all of 1 to 12, see Part 2 of the ebook. Okay, that's about it for this video. All of the contents of the video are taken from the ebook Natural Japanese at a Glance Illustrated Verb Practice by Harumi Morrissey. This ebook is available from Amazon and also from Apple Books and is optimized for phones and tablets. The ebook available from Apple has the sound files inside the actual book. Thank you for watching. If you have a comment or question, please write it in the comments section. If you found this video useful, please give us a like below. And if you'd like to see more Natural Japanese at a Glance videos, please subscribe.